撮ってるよ。
Not quite full though.
Perhaps you've been distracted by something and ask yourself, why not stop suffering?
You ready
Which
for
reminds
that?
me
Huh? You ready?
of someone who once said,
Go.
you're about as happy as you choose to be.
Feel good? Yeah.
So why not stop feeling depressed?
And
And if you don't feel relaxed, perhaps you can ask, why not stop feeling distressed? Now, can you remember when you were so relaxed that you felt like you were floating effortlessly,
the way we wash your hair,
and you can feel so comfortable
it's hard, you're so big.
in a big steamy bath
Yeah, you're so big.
as your mother washes your back with a warm sponge, and you can close your eyes and take a deep breath. That's right. And as you pause, your breathing is slowing down, and your blood pressure is probably lowering as the muscles in your face and whole body become more smooth and relaxed, because it can be so comfortable in the bath or hot shower or doing something else that you love doing. Now, human beings inherently have a belief system designed for survival that makes them resistant to change. They have a comfort zone. So when a dysfunctional change becomes chronic, that can present a challenge to the trustworthiness of that individual's belief system, which has been altered to accept the dysfunction as normal. And if someone could say to them, if you could just see yourself through the eyes of a child when you were younger, and full of life and happiness, and perhaps you can see the dysfunction now as an insignificant and temporary setback that you have the resources to deal with adequately, comfortably. And I wonder if you've ever laughed so hard that the tears were rolling down your cheeks. A spontaneous emotional release of tension and discomfort as you allow yourself to be amused by the idiosyncrasies and frailties of human nature. And And perhaps it's ironic that these same human tendencies can make us cry without laughing. Until your mother plays peekaboo and you laugh again. And you can remember so many wonderful and happy memories that can replace any sadness with happiness, that are reminded to you by a simple game of peekaboo or the splashing of water in the bath. And you may be reluctant to get into the bath or out of the bath or put on your pyjamas and be happy once you've done it. And you can remember these happy memories without remembering how or why. And you can go to bed and fall straight asleep and wake up tomorrow feeling totally relaxed and happy and comfortable, and see the world through the eyes of a child. Good night. Sleep well. I wonder if you can imagine yourself as you go through a day as a different animal, perhaps a fish or a bird or a butterfly. You can be so happy like a wild thing, perhaps a leaf on a majestic oak tree, breathing deeply in a summer breeze, or a fragrant wild water flower floating into a trance. You can be so happy like a wild thing on an enchanted pond in the countryside, surrounded by the songs of beautiful frogs. Or perhaps you prefer to imagine yourself as something inanimate. You can be so happy like a wild thing, perhaps a fluttering piece of colored paper, glistening in the warm upward spiral, just allowing yourself to float. You can be so happy, like a wild thing, floating elegantly, as if in a deep trance. Or perhaps you'd like to be the breeze, so you can be here and there and everywhere. You can be so happy, like a wild thing, just floating where Mother Nature and Father Time takes you. And a little child can wonder if you can get what you want. You